right, welcome to Pete Monfre Tells the Truth. We don't pull punches here. We push all the limits, and we always tell the truth. That's right. So our job every Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Time is to help you sort out the myths and the mirth and the mystery of marketing and help you make better decisions and avoid getting taken to the cleaners, which is another nice way of saying losing everything that you invested in marketing down the toilet because, well, there's an old joke that goes something like, how do you make $1 million in business? Start with 10 million and make a lot of bad decisions. Ah, yeah, it's funny because it's true and it's hurtful. So, but that's the topic today. I wanted to talk about some bad decisions, and I'm going to use Reddit as a litmus test of kind of what's happening in the market. It's kind of interesting. We're going to feature some, at least it is to me, we're going to feature some recent Reddit posts that I ran across from the marketing subreddit there. And I want to be sure to mention right off the bat here that I'm not just digging on these posters, although I am, but I'm not just doing that. I want to demonstrate some very common mistakes and problems that cost clients a lot of money. And that's the sad part. That's the part that just makes me sad. We don't like to see money being wasted because there's never enough of it, which is always true. And so we don't want you to waste it. We want you to get a return on that investment. And so we do this every Thursday. So I hope you'll join us and comment if you like. We hope you comment. We do enjoy hecklers, and we enjoy disagreeers. And we enjoy intelligent discussion. We'll try to keep up on the comments here. Sometimes they don't show up for us very well while we're broadcasting. So let's take a look. So, I like to peruse Reddit. I think it's pretty entertaining, if not completely irritating. But I found some posts that I thought were a good way to kind of gauge sort of the state of the market and why we hear such horror stories really pretty much all of the time. And this one I think is a great way to kick it off. I want to start my social media marketing agency. What's the best way to get started? A full guide would be helpful. I think that really sums up one of the big problems right there. People going into the business, there's no certifications, there's nothing in the industry that prevents you from just saying, hey, I'm an agency, I'm a marketing person thingy. And I love the comments on this one. The first guy says, bruh. And then the second guy says, is this sarcasm? Please be sarcasm. No, it's not sarcasm. Actually, it's what this person is legitimately asking that question. Here's another one. Hi guys, I created my own digital marketing agency and I feel like I need to network to get clients, but have no idea where to start. Any ideas? And so yes, we do have some ideas. Go get a job. This person commented, so you created a digital marketing agency that you don't know how to market to potential customers. I hope you can see the issue there. I don't know. I find these really funny. Sadly funny. This is a real common thing that I run across too, because I have people that call me and they're interested in maybe working with us, and as I'm talking to them, I realize that they're not even in the ballpark of being qualified to be measuring my qualifications, and this is really common, and I'll talk about it a little bit after this slide. So I've landed a job that I feel I'm unqualified for. Terrible sentence, but let's keep going. The job is designing and managing social media for a tech company that produces mobile phone applications. I have to advertise for the applications in social media, recruitment application. I've made it clear in the interview that I have no experience in social media management, but here I am landing the job. So can you give me some tips about how I can improve and how to get ideas for content and how to market on Twitter? Folks, here's the thing. The thing is, it's just, I'm almost speechless, which is a very rare occurrence if you know me. how do you hire someone that has never done the work before? I mean, would you hire an engineer to design a building that's never done it before? Would you hire a surgeon who, maybe he's whipping out the Appendicitis for Dummies book? Probably not. But there's this idea that marketing is fluff, that if you're generally just a smart, creative person, that you're going to be able to do it. And so companies, they make these hires, and it's really driven by budget. They know they need more expertise, more experience, but they feel like it's not worth the investment. And so they really punch downward when they're hiring. And, this person not likely to be very successful. And so it's kind of misery all around. And so in my post, I give you some ideas and some things to better vet the people, that not just that you're hiring as employees, but if you're hiring an agency, you're hiring consultant, advisor, coach, there's some great ways to vet people. They're not traditional ways, because those are definitely gamed all the time. Talk about that here in a little bit. But let's take a look again at some of our hapless Redditor marketers. I'm going to skip that one for now because it's pretty intense. We'll come back to it. I need advice. Hello, I'm starting my digital marketing agency, and with no previous experience, I'm struggling to find my first client. Oh, you don't say. Imagine that. What do you guys suggest I do? Let's see if we've got any pithy answers. No, not really. Again, this just illustrates the same thing. Anyone can wake up today, tomorrow, throw out a shingle and be like, hey, I'm a marketing thingy, right? It's just something to really be aware of. And, you want to know, what you want to be able to look into, whoever you're considering working with. Maybe it's me. You can go and look me up on LinkedIn. You can Google me. Sometimes people ask me for references. I don't give references, and there's a few reasons for that. One is my clients aren't in the business of selling my company. But the other reason is that references are worthless. I'm not going to give you references of people that think I do a shitty job, right? I'm going to only give you references of people that love me. So it's really, that's not a great way. In this case, here's another example. This company, I'm an intern at a startup. I've been tasked with coming up with a marketing strategy for a tech solutions website. How can we identify and reach out to potential customers and clients? Identification is something I can't quite grasp. Are there any resources? I'm from an engineering background, so bear with me if I seem a little lost. Now, in this case, really, this company is setting up this intern for failure, and they're setting themselves up for failure. And it's, nobody's doing this to be mean, obviously. They just don't know what they're getting into. And, interns are there to learn, not to come and do your strategy. That just, to me, common sense would say, I can't understand why people think that they're going to hire an intern. And I don't know if that's a paid internship or not. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a freebie type of thing. And expect them to set crucial strategy for the company. But again, happens all of the time. These are not really that unique. I'm trying to see the comments here. Excuse me for a minute while I click around. All right, so I can see some comments now. And so once again, we have a punching down situation, right? Where they've let their existing resources dictate. They didn't say, hey, this is how much expertise we need. Let's figure out how can we afford it. Is there, there's a lot of expertise out there, by the way, that's really pretty affordable. So the idea that, in order to get really good expertise, you need to spend a ton of money, that's not the case. But these companies, a lot of times, they really want to spend nothing. And in business, you don't get anything if you spend nothing. And so that's a bell ringer. That's a bell ringer right there. So here, I got to switch the camera. So in this one, hired as a marketing manager, but have never worked in marketing. It's kind of a variation of the same thing. Work at a large tech and media company in customer service, applied for an internal marketing manager role, and actually got the job. I can sense a little bit of surprise there. I feel like I'm in way over my head, and this is a burner account. So now this person does have some background. They've been working there for 5 years in customer support, mastery of the product. Um, they were supporting it, also a frequent user. So that's all good stuff. Add to the background, I run a small e-commerce company that exclusively sells on Amazon. I'm no business expert. Okay, but this guy has some background. The problem is the background isn't aligned with the job. Okay, so and so they're turning to Reddit for advice. So again, you've got marketing is a discipline, and it requires a level of qualifications, just like if you were hiring an accountant. Or I always like to use the word surgeon. I never want to wake up to a surgeon. I'm laying on the table, and they're they got their iPad out and they're posting on Reddit. How do I fix a heart? That would be bad. That would not be a situation I like. I'm going to jump into another one here that's kind of a wall of text, but we'll see if we can dissect it. But I want to remind you that every Thursday, I am here on LinkedIn, and we go live. And if you want to be on the program, even during the broadcast, just comment what you want to talk about, and I can DM a private message to you with a Zoom link. And if you promise not to say stupid, obscene things, you can jump on the program while we're broadcasting. And in a future episode, we'll talk about this this strategy that we're implementing and how it works. But we hope you get some value from it. We're dedicated to really helping you make better decisions. We don't want you to be that $1 million company that started at 10 million. Even if your decision's not us, right? If you're struggling with any of this stuff, shoot me a message. I'm going to help you. It doesn't matter if you hire me or not. It's something that I really believe in. And so let's take a look at this poor anonymous person. Jump from director of marketing to VP of sales and marketing. So this person, they recently landed a job for VP of sales and marketing, B2B, but they came from a director of marketing for e-commerce, B2C. Now right there, that's a big challenge, because even though most of the fundamental ideas of marketing are pretty similar between the two, the practical differences are massive. And so somebody from a B2C background suddenly being thrust into B2B is going to be pretty lost. In a previous job, was a startup, responsible for a lot of the legwork myself as director of marketing. In the new company I'm with, even though they've been in business 16 years, they feel very much like a startup. Now that's interesting to me, because I've seen this a lot before, where it almost doesn't matter how much revenue or how long the company's been in business. It's really this mindset of being small. We're small. There's not a level of sophistication there, and it's not really recognized. It just kind of goes on and on like that for years. And so we do run into that a lot. And that's really a cultural thing. And these are companies that most likely haven't. They either don't have a marketing plan, or they're operating from assumptions and plans that are 10, 15 years old. So, that's maybe 15 years ago they were small. Communication processes, internal infrastructure is at a very basic level. After 16 years, it's hard for me to imagine. So he was hired to grow, and I feel bad for this guy, because this is brutal, right? I mean, this is like, check it out. So they want to scale their company by 50% by the end of 2023. He came back actually and commented that he actually, the expectation is 100% by the end of 2023. I'm a bit freaked out, because growing by 50%, 100%, and he's still going on sales meetings, he's nurturing clients, he's building the internal infrastructure pertaining to the processes, digital channels, full rebrand, internal communications, etc., without having a full support team seems unfair. It is unfair. And I'm sure it's not intentional, but this guy's getting hosed. And they're also hosing themselves because this is impossible. I don't know. Let's see. The current team is of little help because they themselves are confused about processes, company structure. They're stuck in their ways, in their day-to-day activities, putting out fires. The sales team is basically non-existent, and most of them work on a commission-only structure. So he's juggling the non-existent salespeople. He's expected to sell. He's prospecting. He's looking for contractors. They're going to do a rebrand on a very tight budget. Very is capitalized. I think that's telling. Creating sales processes, working on an omni-channel marketing strategy, sales strategy, updating internal booklets for salespeople, hiring, putting out fires himself, learning the new environment, getting to know our place in the market, data analytics, etc. My question is, coming into an organization like this, is it always this hectic off the bat where you're expected to produce almost immediately on all levels, including building the infrastructure and communication? Oh, I need to take a breath after that. That poor guy, he just recently got the job. And again, it's a mismatch of experience. And this guy, is obviously very smart. He knows what's going on. He's almost questioning his own sanity, right? Because he clearly sees that this is a big problem, but he doesn't have the experience to say, hey, this is not normal. And he probably doesn't have the pull internally. He's a new employee, right? To push back on the powers that be that are really creating an absolutely impossible situation, not just for him, but for the company. There is no way, I'll just predict it, and I don't know who this company is. There is no way that they're going to grow by 50% or 100% being driven by marketing and sales in this case. Maybe they get lucky, I don't know, but it's not going to be because they have a deliberate approach to the market. This is a mess, and I wanted to highlight this one because it is very, very common. No CRM. They track their sales through QuickBooks. A sales team on commission only. That can work, actually. I'm not sure what the situation is here, but a lot of times if it's commission only, those salespeople are also probably selling other company services and products, and they're going to focus, of course, where the money is. So, and in this case, they're obviously not getting a whole lot of support from the company. They're on commission only. So it seems obvious to me why that's probably not working out very well. But in this idea that the expectation is to produce almost immediately on all levels, including building the infrastructure and communication. Welcome to the agency business, I would say, to this hapless soul. Expectations. Marketing takes time. A lot of people aren't going to tell you that, and I'll tell you why. Let's say that you approach a marketing consultant or an agency, and you say, "Hey, look, we have this tiny amount of money to spend, and we need to see real results in 3 months." If the marketing person is good at their job and they know what they're doing, and they're honest, they're going to say, "I'm sorry, that's impossible. Let's talk about that and see if we can set more reasonable expectations. It's going to take you 6 months to really see any significant movement," or whatever it is. They're not really inclined to say that, and here's why. Or, hey, that budget's not going to get you, it doesn't align with your objectives, I probably can't help you, I'm not the right match. That's stuff you're probably never going to hear. In fact, we had a previous episode where we talked about appeasement marketing versus results marketing. Okay, so in this case, let's promise them 3 months. Oh, you're absolutely going to see it because this way I can close this deal. I can get whatever amount of money it is, even though we know it's not enough to do the job right. It's certainly not enough to produce results in the time frame they're asking for. But it's 3 months of revenue that the agency needs. So we're going to take that and we're going to imply or even say, right, absolutely, we're going to get you on the first page of Google in the next 3 weeks. Whatever it is. That's where the incentive lies. And that's why my firm Clarity Marketing Support, you know, one of the things that we say a lot is, look, we care more about solving your problem than just taking your money. Okay, but we're the outlier. Okay, most agencies, consultants, advisors, they really care mostly about taking your money, and so they'll let these crazy expectations just kind of float out there. And when they inevitably don't meet those expectations, well, they've already moved on. They've replaced you, and so you know, what a drag. Is it always this hectic off the bat? You know, it often is, unless you, you know, if, and again, I mentioned this person being an internal person, not having the power to basically tell the truth to power, where, you know, what this person really needs is someone outside to come in, do a marketing audit, all right? And that outsider is going to have a lot more pull than internal people. The outsider doesn't have to worry about getting fired, right? They can tell the truth. That's what this show is all about. Pete Monfre tells the truth. And so I would love to do an audit on this company, see what's going on there, and help them iron this out. The good news is, if they're receptive to it, it really isn't that difficult to iron out. They just need to be able to kind of let the consultant advisor lead a process and just work through it in a systematic way and just pull that together. There's definitely a lot going on there, but it is not insurmountable. But the approach that they're taking based on this post, it's impossible. It's just not going to work. So, you know, the result of this is really, you know, it seems like a big mystery when companies essentially spend a bunch of money and they're you know, and they're disappointed. And in fact, and I've mentioned this on the program before, Gartner says only 11% of marketers are happy with the results that they're getting. That's pretty bad, and that's industry wide. And so, you know, to me, that says that there's a big problem in this industry. And, you know, anybody that blames clients, I think that's disingenuous. I think that, you know, we're us marketing folk, you know, we're supposed to be the experts. They're coming to us for that expertise, and they're counting on us because they don't have the expertise, right? And in these cases where you have people that literally don't have any experience or any knowledge, you know, they're betraying that trust, right? I mean, I think, you know, I would say it's almost a type of fraud where you're representing capabilities and experience that you don't actually have, just so you can get that money. You know, here's one. Hello, I'm starting my digital agency with no previous experience. I'm struggling to find my first client. What do you suggest I should do? I love give me a full guide. That one's hilarious to me. I want a full guide right here on Reddit. So, you know, some of the things. So let's talk, just to wrap up the program here. You know, so what about it, right? What can you do? Well, there's a lot of this that has to do with vetting. You know, Heidi, I can see that my post was cut off. Restream didn't post the whole thing. Can you hit update title and see if the whole article's in there? So generally, I'd try to put more information in the post, and it just looks like it got truncated off. So we're just going to look in to see if we can complete that. But there are some basic ways that you can vet people and avoid this problem. And one thing is, if it's an agency or a company, go look at their website and really dig through there. Try to get a sense of who the people are. You know, ask them who is it that we're going to work with directly, right? Because a lot of times you'll have the agency principals come out. Well, can you copy and paste it so it doesn't disappear? They'll have the principals come out during the sales process, and then, you know, depending on the budget, they're going to hand you down to junior level people. You know, you want to know who those people are. Why? Because you're going to go to LinkedIn, and you're going to look each one of those people up, and you're going to see what their work experience is, and then look at their education. And this is a controversial position that I take on this, and people have argued with me profusely that you don't need an education background in marketing to do marketing. Now, that could be true, but I'll tell you what, it sure helps. So if you go to LinkedIn and you see that they've got a degree in massage therapy, and now they're the chief marketing officer, you got to scratch your head on that one. You know, on the other hand, let's say they started out there years and years ago and then they progressed up through marketing roles. Well, that's kind of a different story, right? You can kind of see what their roles were and what their experience is just using LinkedIn. Another thing you can do is go to a Whois lookup and see when it was that their domain was registered. In other words, how long have they been in business? My advice generally is if they don't have 10 years of experience, uh, preferably in your industry or a very related industry, um, I would move on. I would not choose that company. Could you send that to me somehow, and or just post it in the. And we're going to put this information in the post. And so, that's another tool that you can use just to get a sense. I mean, it isn't qualitative, but it's going to give you a sense of their level of experience. You want to look at, uh, make sure the services align with what you think you need at that point, but be open-minded that you may have diagnosed wrong, and let that agency help you find the right answer. And so those are a couple things that you can do. One thing when it comes to creative people is looking at a portfolio, right? Looking at the portfolio. Let me see your portfolio, right? Because there's this idea that marketing is just sort of being creative, right? Or brainstorming, guessing, right? Those are all guessing. But the portfolio is a particularly bad way to vet anyone, whether you're hiring them or an agency, because you don't know, you can't be sure if that person or agency actually did that work. And in the case of an employee, it's really hard to be sure what role that person had in producing the work. In other words, maybe they just were the proofreader, right? But they have this beautiful work in their portfolio, and they really had nothing to do with that. And so there's all these things that can trick you into getting the wrong person. Now, obviously, if you're hiring an intern to set a crucial strategy, a growth strategy for your company, you only have but one person to blame. It's just a bad idea. Don't assume that good talent is expensive, especially now. It's a little hard right now to find talent in terms of W-2 hires, but there's all kinds of contract people. You can look them up. Take a look at my profile. You can clearly see this is really what I've done my whole life, my entire adult life. I've run this company and I've done B2B marketing. And so, the other thing is using a little bit of Google Foo, you can find all kinds of information. Ping me by direct message if you're curious about, if you're not familiar with Boolean search on Google. It's a way to really narrow your results down. But I prefer to send people to Google if they ask me like, hey, Pete, tell us about your experience and give us some references and blah, blah, blah. I would rather have you just Google me. And that way I'm not going to be able to filter what you get. And you're going to be able to see pretty much everything I've been doing is it's all online. You might find some non-marketing things. Who knows? Who knows what you'll find? And that's the idea, right? I mentioned references earlier. No one's going to give you a reference that isn't bad. That's bad, right? No one's going to do that. They're only going to give you people that they've already talked to them and they said, hey, will you say good things about me? Oh, of course I will, right? It's a sham, right? So you need to it's the buyer beware position where you got to do your research, and I'm going to share some things in the post. Let's see if those are getting shared in there yet. Not yet. Oh, it says it's too long. How many characters? How many characters we go? How many characters are we over? 420 characters over. 420. So if you smoke some weed, it'll all work out just fine. So we'll get that cleaned up, and we'll put these suggestions in the post there. Or actually, if you want to take some of it and just post it to a comment, they can get it. So a lot of, ask people that you know around you. I mean, there are actually, I make it sound like all these agencies are terrible, blah, blah, blah. No, there's actually some really good ones. There's amazing consultants. In fact, we have a list of agencies, consultants, advisors, coaches, right? And I'll share that list with you. We want you to choose the right people. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to flush your money down the toilet, all right? And so we're happy to do that. So just reach out. And we'll hook you up. We will hook you up. And so asking around is actually a pretty good way to confirm these things. And then the other thing I think, and I don't think I put it in the post, but if an agency wants a giant commitment right out of the gate, you want to be real careful with that, right? You want to look at that contract language, or even worse, let's say the agency doesn't have a contract at all. Okay, run away. Everything should be in writing, but you'll want to look at that commitment, and sometimes it's better to start on kind of a trial basis and work with that agency for a few months. And during that first few months, most good agencies are going to be doing deep discovery. They're going to be talking to your salespeople. They're going to be talking to your executives. They're going to be doing research. Okay, this is a way for you to kind of see, are they asking us good, intelligent questions? Are they demonstrating a knowledge of not just marketing, but of business, right? Because you need both. You can't just be we know all about marketing, but we don't know a damn thing about how business works. Okay, you need both of those to happen in order for you to be successful. Also, a good agency, good consultant, good advisor, they're going to be hassling you about a plan, right? If you don't have a plan, I have many people say, we have a plan. Are you kidding? It's in my head. Okay, it's like that. It doesn't count. I hate to break that to you. You should have if you've gone through a deliberate, systematic process to make marketing decisions, you're going to have a lot lower risk as you start to implement. So, and then there's the issue of alignment, right? So if you see that most of their experience is in business to consumer and you're a B2B services company, that's a pretty big disconnect. I'm not sure you'll be able to overcome that. And so you'll want to make sure they're aligned as best you can. Now, I don't think specific industry experience is that important. For example, you're in the widget business and somebody comes in from the cheese business. Different industries, but if they're both B2B, there's going to be, the basic process is the same. But, if they do have some experience in your industry, that is definitely a plus. But there is some thought that going cross industry, I've actually worked in many, many industries, can bring a lot of fresh thinking and new ideas to the table. And this is especially relevant in, I think, technical types of industries where everybody's really looking at it the same way and they're coming up with the same conclusions. In fact, there's many agencies out there that literally have just boilerplate solutions and they give the same stuff to everybody. So sometimes going cross industry can actually be pretty helpful. But align also with what you think you need, right? I mean, if you're looking to drive revenue growth and that is your primary outcome, but you're hiring a web development house, or what now is called a digital agency. If they're a digital agency, that means they make websites, okay? Making a website and driving revenue are really two different things. Now, the website may have something to do with it, right? But the objective there is different, right? So that's not really aligned. You want to hire the people that are also aligned on your outcome. I think that's really important. And so I hope you've been able to glean some value today from this. I talked to my producer during the program because Heidi's here helping me make this happen. And without her, there just would be no program. And she's a great creative director also. And I think I mentioned, forget about references and portfolios. Oh, be clear on the outcomes, okay? So start with the outcome in mind and then work backwards from there. So if you have more questions about this, if you've got a bunch of money on the line, let's say maybe you're spending $750,000, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million on marketing, right? You're not happy with it. You're not getting a return from that. Or let's say you're not sure. You're not really sure what it's doing, okay? shoot me a message. Let's iron that out. It's not expensive. We do it pretty quickly. We'll point you in the right direction. Even if we're not a match for you, again, like I said, I've got a list of people that are absolutely amazing. They're ethical. They're not going to bullshit you. And we're happy to share that. We want you to make better decisions. We don't want you to make mistakes. And so that's why we go on LinkedIn live every Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Time and share, hopefully, what we think are good ideas and our thinking on this topic. So thanks for joining us today. I'd like to invite those of you that are in Austin, Texas. This Saturday, we're having our monthly networking event at the Saxon Pub. It's at 6 o'clock, and so we hope you'll join us there. Come out and meet in person, and get out there and vet those damn marketing people. Bunch of snakes. Bunch of snakes in that business.
Come on, baby, tell the truth.